Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and welcome to Hypixel SkyBlock, and in today's video, I will be showcasing some niche little tricks that could help your SkyBlock islands. These are tricks that are not necessarily covered by most of those tutorials you'll find out there, covering things like a max enchanting guide, max talisman guide. These are a bunch of little tricks in all sorts of categories that can help make your island better. So, let's go. Well, to start off, as you can see, what I'm doing right now is a special form of combat XP farming that is quite different from what most people do. It's been widely considered for a while that the most effective way to get combat levels is to spam the rogue sword with a very wise dragon set in the dragon's nest, but turns out that's not true. If you do what I'm doing now, which is an unpleasant wise set, or basically just a wise set but with 100% crit chance on an aspect of the end, you can teleport around constantly in the just outside the gate, and you'll get way more XP than using the rogue sword with the very wise set or anything else in the dragon's nest. And here's why. There are so many endermen over here and nobody touches them. I mean, look at this. There are literally just hordes of endermen to kill, and they only give you 4 less XP per kill than a zealot. And when the difference between 40 and 36 ain't all that much when you're literally killing zealots like 10 times faster. I mean, look at this. It's insane. I made a full video on the strat. If you want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the top right hand corner. But anyways, moving on. So in order to get the best experience when fishing, you need to travel to the spider's den. Once you're there, you got to get your grappling hook and actually go back to the hub like this. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this. So what I basically just did is entered the ghost version of the spawn. There's a lot of places you can do this from, for example, the area with the trees over there, but I started in the spider's den for a very specific reason. The spider's den is the only place where rain can happen. Now, this is important because rain increases the speed in which you fish. So, now that we're here, let's get our angler set on, get our fishing rod, grab some bait. Now, the reason why we would do this instead of just going to our island and having a weather stick with, rain, is that the creature spawn rate is much higher in lobbies than it is on your private island. So, this is the ideal way to fish. So, another thing you might not know is that beacons exist. You can actually craft these in SkyBlock, just like in vanilla. So, if you go over here, we will grab some obsidian, glass, and as you can see, catalysts can make a perfect substitute for a nether star. So boom, beacons. You can place them down the normal way, put some in it, it'll activate, and then you'll get some sort of effect. As you can see, currently we have speed, jump boost, regen, and resistance. Now this is useful mostly because of speed. The other ones, just helps you survive on your island better. But where this gets really OP is in pumpkin and melon farms. As you can see, I actually have a wise set. It's not quite very wise because I have it spec'd into the other strategy I started the video with, but this combined with a rogue sword combined with the speed of the beacon is kind of OP because you just start out with higher speed. Now, what I normally do is actually use a young set instead of a wise set because you actually hit like this weird speed cap. As you can see, I can't break the pumpkins fast enough to run until like some of the speed goes away. But this isn't quite the 400% speed cap, but yeah, you hit this sweet spot with the young set where you're just going fast enough to break pumpkins at maximum speed, but not going so fast as to bump into the pumpkins. So kind of like this, but a little bit faster. Let me try and emulate the speed here. This is about what the experience is like with a young set, is this. Pretty fast. But yeah, it's because the speed beacon's actually having a noticeable increase on our speed. It makes it so you don't have to use the rogue sword as much, and of course it'll work for melon farms as well. But yeah, so beacons are a thing, is basically what I'm trying to say here. Another use for beacons is actually haste. As you can see, I have a stonk, and if you look over here, I have haste too. Now what that allows me to do is insta-break cobblestone, which, you know, you can use this OP farm to generate lots and lots and lots of cobble. Now don't AFK this because you'll get in trouble for it, but it's still very useful to have. I mean, just from that, I got almost 4 stacks of cobblestone. But yeah, beacons are useful, man. Many people believe the jungle axe to be the most efficient way to gather wood in SkyBlock. You break 1 block, 5 more break after it. It's pretty great. You can take out a tree in like 2 to 3 chops. It's pretty efficient, right? Well, no. Many people think this is the best way to mine trees, but that is just incorrect. I mean, look at this. There's still so much more. Takes at least 3 to take down 1 chunk of logs, whereas if I drink a haste potion, then take out my efficiency 5 golden axe, gone. Gone. So this is the best way to get wood in Hypixel SkyBlock, is a haste 3 golden axe. Now it does require a bit more active effort, but trust me, it is worth it. You can take out these massive chunks of logs in like no time at all, and you'll notice that I've actually been staying in this one spot over here, basically mining these 4 chunks of logs and any trees in between constantly. That is the strat. This is how you get foraging skill really quickly. You just bounce around between these in the main lobby, and while you're waiting for them to respawn, you take out a couple trees. Of course, there's one other place you can go if you want to get a lot of wood really quickly, and that is the dark oak thicket. The problem is the dark oak thicket is usually very, very crowded. So what I would recommend is actually putting a dark oak thicket portal on your island like we have. So you hop in, see if anybody's there. And I got extremely lucky. This one is dead. Wow. That usually never happens. But yeah, the speed with the golden efficiency axe is way faster than that of a jungle axe. Let me just finish up taking out this tree until I show you. Alright, jungle axe time. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost like 6 seconds to take out a tree, whereas gone. Gone. I've had people try to argue this to me like multiple times in live stream chat, but no, the gold axe is way better. You take out trees instantaneously. It is ridiculous. I mean, look at that. This is one of the biggest trees in the entire island, and it's pretty much gone. Now, here's the strategy, right? If you queue into a lobby that has too many players on it, I mean, there's not a lot of people here, but let's say there were like 8 of them. I can go back to my island, and then go through the portal again. And it will queue a different lobby. This one actually has a lot more people on it. It's like, oh, this has too many. Let me re-queue. Boop. And boop. And you repeat until you find a lobby that has no people on it. And I think I made it back to the first lobby I was in. But anyway, yeah. So this is how you get your foraging skill up really quickly. This is how you get growth books. This is how you get minion storages. Of course, the first strat. It's just a really effective way. See, everybody uses jungle axes. Everybody. But it's not worth it. This is so much better. But no one cares for some reason. I don't understand why. Okay, so this next one's an enchanting tip. So here's a problem a lot of people have. They make these god books, right? I mean, look at this thing. It's got so many enchantments on it, but it has 7 anvil uses. Now, the problem with that is that every time you use the anvil on an item, it increases the price to combine enchantments again. So if I were to throw my Pigman sword, which already has 5 anvil uses, with this one that has 7, that's going to take 514 XP to combine. Now that's a problem because I don't think you can even get that much XP like, at all. Like, you'd have to be grinding for, like, a month to get that much XP. Now, to avoid that, you need to be smart about the way you do enchants. For example, my Aspect of the End. If you look at this thing, it has almost max enchants, except for the ones that are bad. And it only has one anvil use on it. Now, the reason for that is that I was gifted a book by one of you guys, and it was perfectly made to be the best book to put on a sword. There's actually a chart I'll put up on the screen right now, and it is designed specifically for the cheapest enchantments. So the way it works is you combine a whole bunch of books together before applying it to the weapon. You only want 1 or 2 books per weapon, maybe 2 to 3, but combining literally every single enchantment like this is a bad idea. But yeah, 1 or 2 to 3 books. Of course, this doesn't have nearly as many enchantments, so it wasn't as expensive to combine. This book took about 170 levels, which is still a lot. So if you really want to get the best bang for your buck with enchantments on a sword, I would suggest 2 to 3 books. So you get your critical, your cubism, your Ender Slayer, execute, experience, whatever, all in one book. And then you can have vampirism, scavenger, sharpness, looting, luck, all in the other book. And then you combine it all, and it only will cost you like maybe a third of the levels. And most importantly, it's easier to get like 150 levels because you could just buy them at the NPCs at spawn and just spam it for like 20 minutes and you have the levels. So yeah, basically just be smart about your enchanting. Don't go all in, and especially do not add enchantments one at a time to a tool. Because, I mean, look at my Rapid Ruinance Bow. It's got 6 anvil uses on it. If I try to add any enchantments to it, chances are it's going to cost over 200 levels. Which is not ideal, because if an update comes out and there's some other enchantment I want, then I'm not going to be able to do it without making a new bow. So yeah, try to keep the anvil uses as low as possible on any particular item. Adding a book to an item does not inherit all the anvil uses. So obviously to make the book that was put on this sword, it took like 5 uses. But that doesn't get inherited by the sword itself, which is good. This is another general SkyBlock tip. I feel like a lot of people are confused about this one. People know about it, but they don't understand why it's a thing. And it's bad enchantments. So you'll hear a lot of people tell you that cleave, venomous, fire aspect on swords is a bad thing. And it is a bad thing. And the reason why is hit ticks. So what does that even mean? Well, when you attack something with your weapon, right, you'll do whatever that weapon's damage is times your crit damage and all of that. So, for example, that guy just did 28,000 while yoinking my kill. Thanks, bud. That's a lot of damage. 26,000. I did about 28,000 with my pig sword. And then to that Obsidian Defender, I did however much that just was. The point is, you do a lot of damage when you just hit something with your sword. Now, the problem is, if you have an armor set on that has thorns on it, for example, it will only do like 20 damage when you get hit. And it will take up a hit tick. Now, the way Minecraft works is that you can only damage a mob twice a second. If I were to punch a mob, for example, an Enderman, as you can see, you can only hit it about 2 times per second. Now, when it takes thorns damage, or when a mob takes cleave damage like that Endermite just did, then that counts as a hit tick, which means it can't get hit for another half a second. Now, that limits how much damage you could dish out to a mob. If I do 28,000 damage per hit, that limits me to about 50,000 damage per second. If, for example, I hit a mob and then cleave hits another mob next to it, that second mob is immediately limited to half of the damage per second that I had before. And as you can see, my pig sword has cleave on it, which kind of sucks because it makes a hit tick happen when it shouldn't. And it means I'm doing half the damage per second that I could. Now, it's even worse when you have thorns and you fight against one of these stupid obsidian defenders because they're speedy and they will hit you constantly. So if I grab a piece of armor that has thorns on it, just to demonstrate, this is going to be painful, by the way. So yeah, this guy will attack me, right? And what happens is they get hit every time they hit me, right? They take damage. And that makes it hard to kill them because they can't get damaged while they're taking thorns damage. See, look. See? I'm clicking. But if they're taking thorns damage, they can't get hurt. Now, this is much worse when you do this. This is the Pig Sword's ability. This basically makes it so these things can't die because they're taking damage every second. Or, like, they're taking damage almost exactly 2 times a second, which makes it near impossible to hit them with their weapon. So you'll get hit 100 times more than you should. So if you're just clicking at 1 CPS, you are not going to kill it. So yeah, avoid anything that causes a hit tick. Again, it's cleave, venomous, fire aspect, and thorns. Avoid all of that on your weapons and armor. Don't cause any extra hit ticks, only when you want to, which is when you're hitting them with your weapon. Of course, not cleave out of here. There we go. What you should be seeing is when I go, for example, over here, and I take out my aspect of the end, which is a perfect aspect of the end, by the way. It doesn't have any bad enchantments on it. No cleave, no fire aspect, no knockback. Knockback's just annoying. But yeah, look at that. It doesn't do any cleave damage. It doesn't do fire damage. I don't have thorns in my armor, so when they hit me, they don't take an extra hit tick. When I click, they die. That's how it should be. So that is why some enchantments are bad. One tip I would show you, but I can't right now because my island mate's logged off with the set, is that there's actually a new strat for getting eyes. So in the beginning of the video, I showed you how to get combat levels fast, but if you want to get eyes fast, you're going to have to be here in the Dragon's Nest. So the strat is to wear a young set. I'm wearing a superior set because, as I said, my island mate logged off with... You're cool. Wow. Look at this. This is why you shouldn't be in here if you're trying to get combat XP, because nerds like this are going to be doing that. But anyway, if you're grinding for eyes and you don't have a Y set, the young set will do pretty well because the young set got a buff recently. And it does 70% extra walk speed when you're above 50% health. Now, you're not going to be as fast as this guy, but you are going to be pretty fast. Faster than I am with a superior set. And if you have, high enough health and you've collected all the fairy souls and all that, then you shouldn't die if you're careful. But yeah, young set's a nice substitute for the rogue sword and the very wise set. And the final suggestion is to install SkyBlock Addons. It's actually a great little mod. It has counters for when different boss fights are happening. For example, the magma boss. So if I were to go to the Blazing Fortress, it literally says there's 50 seconds left. Let's see if I can make it. Probably not, but we will see. Looks like the fight actually just... Oh! It looks like the fight literally just ended because everyone's over here. But yeah. Oh wait, no, it still says there's a minute left. Oh no, it just happened. Okay. But yeah, the timer's there. You have to arrive like 5 minutes in advance, but yeah, it's pretty cool. There's timers for when the fights are happening. SkyBlock Addons also makes it impossible to drop valuable items, as you can see. Because it says SkyBlock Addons has stopped you from dropping this rare item or tool from your hotbar. It also does that when you try to drop it like that, which means you can't accidentally drop items anymore, which is pretty great. It also has a handy little feature where you're not able to break stalks with an axe. So if I go over here, and then I'm breaking really recklessly. Oh! It won't prevent that though, but it did but it did prevent me from breaking the stalk. But yeah, you can't break stalks with an axe. It's very, very convenient because you're not going to accidentally break your farms But yeah, there's a whole bunch of other features that SkyBlock Addons gives you. For example, it'll notify you when your inventory's full. Yeah, that's most of the use I have for it, but there's a bunch of little things that just make the experience better. So I would highly recommend it. And while you're at it, because you have to install Forge to make this mod work, you might as well get yourself Optifine and Frames Plus. They're great mods. They increase the performance of the game by a lot, and it is amazing. Well, anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I was told to put an auction up in the chat, so I guess that's what I'm doing. But anyway, if everything I said was helpful for you guys, I would greatly appreciate if you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you can get notified of my future uploads. And of course, leave a comment down below with your suggestions for other people playing SkyBlock. What did I miss? Well, anyway, I guess that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.